Oh, I'm going to get a coffee.
Yeah, do it.
Oh, I got a hangnail. I'm making fun of you.
Continue. I don't care. All you're doing is making this longer. Welcome to the program, everybody. My name is Dean. That is Lochlin Cross giving me shit for not showing up on time. We're like 6 minutes late. I had to reschedule a couple of things this week. Lachlan's all pissy about it. He's here, though, because he's one of those guys that if you change direction at any point in time when he's walking a certain way, he doesn't go, which way are we going? He throws a kid fit. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Let's be honest.
But what?
I think I met you for a reason.
Yeah, to make your life
You're
better.
Testing my patience. Yeah,
you need your patience tested.
Exactly. I think, and that's the way I'm viewing this. I'm looking at this as I'm trying to take the positives out of a relationship with Dean Blundell.
You know what? Go ahead. Sorry.
Who has a very loose
interpretation
and interesting relationship with time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah. What you're saying is that what you're saying is that you don't want anything to do with me? Is that what you're saying? Because you don't like the time that I take up of yours?
No.
Here? Is that what you're saying? Or just I'm consistently late for things?
Your idea of scheduling and timing and paying attention to those things is different than mine.
Yeah.
Like I'm up. All right, what are we doing? Fire off an email. Oh, shit, I forgot about this meeting. Oh, I got to rearrange my whole day. Okay, I'll send a bunch of texts. Okay, I got an hour for you. Okay, we're doing this now. Okay, you're that guy. You're definitely that guy, and you can't ignore it. It's who you are. You're in your 50s. I doubt highly you're going to change. I'm not like that. I'm like, okay, I'm up at this time. I'm doing this at this time.
Yeah, it's because you're like
phone.
It's because you're on the spectrum. That's why you get so angry about like 6 minutes. It's because you're OCD. You do the same thing every single day, and when someone upsets the fruit basket, you're like, "Well, but I got a hair appointment," and I'm like, "Well, you're gonna have to triage the hair appointment," and you're like, "But what do I?" And then you somehow settle back down into the idea it's going to be okay if someone adds a couple hours onto your day. And to your point, yes, I am terrible. Like
you are awful. You're awful.
Well, and you know why I am? I'll tell you why I am. And I don't know if anybody out there is going to relate to this. There's a gentleman who we'll talk about in a second that doesn't like to comply. His name's Chris Sky. He was like a phenomenon in this country for a couple of years, running around in his muscle shirts and his
I have to go do something
tiny titties. Yeah. What are you doing? You just got to get up and you got to go do something. That's fine. Wait for him to come back because he won't want to not be part of this story when it comes to the conversation he wanted to start, and just decided that he was going to get up and go somewhere else in the middle of the conversation. Anyway, so, he's got his headphones now. We're good. We're happy.
I'm sorry. I opened the window to get a little bit of air in here,
sure.
and it's really stormy out, and the wind is blowing like crazy, and it's very distracting. Sorry.
So, no, don't be sorry. I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad you didn't just get up and leave to prove a point. Like, this is what you do before the podcast, Dean. I have a feeling that's what you did. That was a microaggression. Was that a microaggression?
Okay.
Anyway, back to the Chris Sky compliance stuff.
Okay. I've thought about doing stuff like that to you, but I know it would have zero impact.
None.
You would it doesn't matter to you. So I need a reaction. I need some sort of negative impact on your life if I'm going to do those kind of passive aggressive microaggression.
It'll never happen.
I'll go on about my day.
Yeah, good boy. I'm bulletproof. So let me get back to the whole thing about complying. Chris Sky, he's this little ferretus dude. If you remember, I'll bring up a picture of him. Looks like a horse.
He's got great teeth.
And unbelievable teeth.
Every time I see a picture of him, I want to feed an apple or carrot through a fence.
I know, me too. Or give him like a salt block. Anyway, he's from a very wealthy family and doesn't like rules. Never had them in his life because he grew up rich and decided he didn't want to comply with COVID, led the army of complete blithering fucking idiots and meth heads during the COVID campaign.
It was an interesting gathering of individuals in his group, yes.
Yeah. His meth heads.
Yeah.
Yeah. Virtual, physical, figurative, literal meth heads. So anyway, he doesn't like complying. He hates it. I'm actually a little bit like that. Although I don't wear muscle shirts and I'm self-aware and I don't think I'm Superman and I don't have a whole bunch of fake teeth from having them rotting out of my head because I didn't like brushing my teeth as a kid, because those are rules. In the capacity that you get upset with me that I don't show up on time, it is a major. No, hang on. You're not wrong. I'm agreeing with you.
I don't, though. I try not to.
I know you're so good with me, dude. That's why I love you so much. You're like, okay, yeah, Dean, I get it. You're a bad planner, which I am.
You are. I've been trying to be that catch-all for you.
You've been incredible. And since you started here full time, you've been awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. See how I like to do things? We're getting somewhere now. There's one thing I hate complying with, even if I set the time and it's time. So someone will send me, as an example, someone will send me like an invite and they'll say, show up at 7. When I see that invite and it says, show up at 7, I'm like, no, it's 7:08 or 6:56. No way I'm showing up at 7. When I get a ticket to a Blue Jays game, first pitch 107, I'm like, not for me, it isn't. Because that ticket, that invite, that person that sends you a text to say, hey, can we podcast at 11? Even if I'm the guy that sends the text, if I start on time, I feel like such a Poindexter. I feel like I've been ordered around, even if I've set the time. And that is a major problem for me and everybody around me that I am never going to fix because I think it's funny.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with you. I'm going to disagree with you.
I'll always communicate ahead of time for the most part. Sometimes I don't.
I don't like placating you, because I think all I'm doing is I'm giving you an excuse to continue this poor behavior, which it is.
Whatever.
But I also know that you're not going to change. So I don't bother trying to be the agent of change in your life with respect to this. So what I've tried to do is I've tried to correct the behavior as best I can from behind the scenes and control these, daily schedules as best I can. And I've had limited success. Here's the thing that I think happens a lot of
me knowing that you're going to be mad if I don't show up at the assigned time.
So no, I don't get mad.
No, I know you won't. I know you don't. But like my guilt is like, oh, he'll probably want me to show up on time. So if there is something that I do on a schedule, it's out of like guilt. It's not for other people. If it's just me,
I'm 100% okay with you feeling guilty about this. 100% okay with it. I was just going to say that in this business, for whatever reason, and I've seen it in the past with like old dog radio people, right? Like I missed this sort of boat. Like I got into radio in the early 90s, and I came on the heels of this wave of these massive personalities, right?
Yeah.
With that thought that everybody had to stop what they were doing. And I'm not suggesting you got a bit of this. I watched them demand things, and I watched them think
that were unreasonable.
That the world revolved around them and what they were doing. And that prima donna thing that I witnessed as a young broadcaster really actually, it bothered me. And I'm not talking about
somebody. No, I see. This is the thing. That is not it with me. I am not the person that doesn't show up to things on time because everybody should be okay with whenever Dean Blundell shows up. That's not it. With me, I'm like mentally defective when it comes to going and showing up on time.
Yeah.
Because it makes me feel like a dork.
But I think you also do still have a little bit of a, hey, I'm Dean Blundell, and I'm going to do what I want.
Not at all.
When you...
When have you seen that from me?
Come on, it's a little secret time here.
It was like, okay, go ahead. Ask me a question.
Little secret time.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Hit me with it.
What did you do when you got to the radio station at the Edge every morning?
Oh, we talking about Dean 1.0 or 2.0? What are we talking about here? Dean 1.0.
We're talking about Dean 1.0, and I think this actually ties into.
You want me to take you through my day of Dean 1.0? I'll tell you about Entitled Dean. So I would get my fat ass out of bed at around 4 o'clock in the morning.
I miss Fat Dean.
I'd nurse a hangover into the shower. It was a nice house. It was a nice shower. I would stumble out, hop in my Mercedes I didn't pay for, in the warm garage, 4-car.
This is what I'm talking
and my car
about.
had to be parked right next to the door, so it wasn't as much of a job for me to get around the car, so that was the deal. And then I would drive down my heated driveway, which never collected
you didn't
snow.
Have to shovel.
You got it. And I would beetle into work. Sometimes I'd get a police escort from super police fans. Sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes we do 180. Sometimes I do 120. Then I get to work. I would go to the elevator, which went into my studio. And I would hand the intern my keys. And I would say, thank you. Can you park this? Sometimes I'd park in the studio just because I didn't want to walk upstairs or take the elevator.
I'm just saying there may
then
be.
I would sit down. No, I'm not done. I'm taking you through Fat Dean's entitlement. I would sit down at my studio, which no one else was allowed to use, at a carafe of chocolate raspberry coffee, which was my favorite, with stevia and cream, a specific kind of oat cream.
You know how I know you're gay?
And I would pour the oat cream in, and I would drink the coffee, and I would prep for an hour. And then I would go on the radio and go, look at how important I am, suckers, for 4 hours. Then they'd pay me millions of dollars, and I'd go home.
Now,
yes,
there's an element of Dean 1.0.
Didn't like going to things on time for the same reasons this Dean doesn't, though. Felt like someone was telling me. I'm just saying there
may be some hangovers from Dean 1.0. That's all I'm saying. And I was going to add to it. I remember when you and I first started working together.
Yeah.
And this was like 2-3 years ago when you put me on the podcast, and then I would put you occasionally on the Locker Room, the show that I no longer host.
You got fired?
I got let go. I don't even know what it's called. Anyway, whatever they did to me, they ruined one of the best rock radio shows in the country. Anyway,
they fired you. It's super simple. They're like, you're too cool. You embarrass us. New ownership or management over there was like, listen, we know we're incel dorks.
Yeah.
And we're here to
all right,
get rid
enough
of people who are in our way. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion. No one said anything.
All right. Okay, so anyway, we had an interesting conversation when I said to you, I said, hey, you should come on the show and we'll do a hit about whatever, hockey or whatever the topic of the day was. And I think you realized at that point that I ran the board, and you went, you run the board? And I went,
you touched
yeah, I can't imagine doing this job without having control of all the buttons.
Oh, well, I can.
So it's a wiring. Right? Like
it's a control thing. I didn't mind giving control to other people, but I'll tell you what, that also damaged me in my divorce when I didn't know where all my money went. So always maintain control of your situation. Don't get too uncomfortable. Don't get too settled, because you'll lose your life and then you'll have to start over again. Can we start the program today with some unbelievably sad news that really is in theme? It's in keeping with what we're talking about. And it brings back a callback, if you will, to the first part of the conversation, which was Chris Sky. Do you remember Chris Sky?
I do remember. I remember we had him on a couple of times too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's a lunatic. Remember, this is the gentleman. If you're following us on Crier Media's YouTube channel, the dude with the horse teeth. He's got the sweet hair. He's got the neck tattoo that looks like a bunch of mechanized dicks. And he was the guy that would show up to like the dick tattoos or the teeth or the hair or all of it. We'll get to that.
He's got caps, eh? For sure, those are caps.
Whatever they are, he looks ridiculous. Yeah. Credit card sized teeth. So Chris was a vagabond T-shirt salesman that would show up to town to pretend to like protest against compliance, any kind of compliance, vaccine, masks, being a good person, hygiene, wearing clothes, stuff like that. And he would travel with his then wife, who was a budding porn star. Who cares what her name was? And she spoke some serious broken English. And they went around Canada fleecing people $30 for a shirt here, $70 for a hoodie there. And he captained himself as Captain Compliance. He was on InfoWars with Alex Jones for, I don't know, a cup of tea.
I saw that.
Yeah. Very funny. Made me laugh. Anyway, been arrested dozens of times for, he's still got an outstanding chance of like, he's got an outstanding charge of trying to run a cop over or something. I mean, he's been to jail forever. This dude is just
first name. He's allowed on. There's a warrant for his arrest in Ontario, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there is.
That's why I think he was in Alberta.
So if you remember back when the pandemic started, you had a bunch of these people come out as like, superheroes of
the anti-maskers.
On both sides. You had the super maskers, you had the anti-vaxxers, you had everybody trying to take advantage. He's just one of the dudes that actually made bank. He made hundreds of thousands of dollars selling these stupid t-shirts and asking for my
Did he make how much money? Okay.
So much money.
Good for him.
Lived in Alberta for a bit. You remember the takedown of the West Edmonton Mall? Remember the West Edmonton Mall takedown? He goes in there with his Pollyanna wife or whatever she was.
I do. Polyamorous,
they get their asses kicked in the West Edmonton Mall by mall security, because West Edmonton Mall security is sort of like the Night Rangers from Central Park and Home Alone, if you will.
Dude,
like,
I had a run in. I had a run in with the security guards at West Edmonton Mall. Yeah. They are serious. They do not mess around. So so it's not surprising that video. When I watched that video, it was not surprising to me. Yeah.
So anyway, here's the deal. Yesterday, I get a phone call from a friend of mine, and he's like, there's some big news. I said, what's the big news? He goes, check your DMs. Because I hadn't been on my DMs. I'm like, I try not to stay on my DMs. I try to get out of Twitter as much as I can. Anyway, I get on my DMs. It's a post from Chris Sky. I thought the guy was dead. Like, I thought he was like in Mexico in some wanna hump bar. Serving up cocktails and body shots, being a club DJ. That was the last I heard. He was trying to make, some kind of weird Mexican desert porn.
I know where he was living.
A whole bunch of people. He was living in Leduc, Alberta, right? Not far from you.
No, he actually moved into the city. He actually, if I literally stood on the roof of my house and I had a really good arm, like I could throw a couple kilometers, I could throw a rock to his house. He lived just on the other side of the river.
No one knows
just off the white mud. But I saw him one day. Like,
did you really?
Last fall, I saw him at I remember I told you about.
Was he at a restaurant or something?
No, he was in a car, and somebody had told me that they had seen him in that area of town. It's down by the zoo, and he was in a Land Rover. And
white. Was it a white Land Rover? Range Rover. Yeah, he has a white Range Rover. It's all beat to shit. His dad bought it for him when he kicked him out of the house. He's like, get the fuck out.
Anyway, I saw Jimmy was in the car with me, and I was like, that's Chris Sky. And Jimmy went, who? Jimmy had no idea who Chris Sky was.
Yeah, not a lot of people do, but he was one of those guys. Anyway, I get a note, and he's like, Chris Sky is apparently retired. So I posted this. It's gone viral. Here's your Chris Sky update, ladies and gentlemen. If you're like, where did that giant toothed, mechanized dick tattoo wearing, fucking pube beard screaming, bad fucking receding hairline, frosted tip dickhead? Where did he go? He's leaving Canada, everybody. He posted this. So I put this on my Twitter feed, at it's Dean Blundell. You can go and have a look at it. Titled, quote, smell you later, chompers. And keep in mind, I think I did this to him as well. You and I. But, like, I drove this guy nuts on purpose. Threatened to sue me a billion times. Used to call me late at night and tell me about how many dogs he had and how one dog could open up any door in the world with his, like, super paws or something. He was just a fucking crack addict. He's so weird. Not literal, but figurative. So Chris puts out this announcement from real Chris Sky on something called Capwing, because he's not allowed on any other platforms, I guess, which is hard to do because they'll let like any Nazi on Twitter. Announcement.
He's still not back on Twitter.
No,
it's actually surprising.
It's fucking crazy. This is real Chris Sky. Announcement. Soon I will be closing all my social media. I'll be leaving Canada indefinitely. Canadians have failed. This country is finished. It's time to look after my own interest. Chris Sky. So again, I'm like, smell you later, chompers? Like, who gives a fuck? I literally thought he was dead in Mexico somewhere. Like in a ditch. I thought he was like some Mexican drug lord's wiener slave. I really did.
So Here's the thing. I wonder if this is tied to
I looked into it.
The publicity. Okay, well, if you know the reason why.
No, go ahead. Let me get your theory on where Chompers is gone and why he's leaving Canada.
Do you think this has anything to do with the publicity that family, the 8 kids, got? Because he likes attention. And so maybe this is tied to that?
Maybe. Here's what I found out. Chris has not only several warrants out for his arrest, Chris also owes some money to some people. Shocker. Okay. And those people are not the kind of people that let debts slide.
Okay.
Therefore, Chris Sky is telling everybody we've failed as Canadians, when what Chris Sky is really doing, now that he's broke, now the people are going, pay up, dickhead. He's leaving the country, a la Kevin J. Johnson, leaving the country to go to Costa Rica because some people in the CRA, maybe some law enforcement people, maybe the people that he's supposed to be meeting at a jailhouse to do time in Ontario, don't take kindly to him skipping out of the country. So I don't know where he's going. I don't know how he's getting there. I have not heard exactly where he's going. I have heard Europe. He's going to Europe. And I hope when he gets there, he's his true, authentic self, because that kind of stuff in Europe, when you're from North America, that stuff gets its ass kicked awfully fast. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. Sayonara, Chompers.
Yeah. I think there's a, there's clearly a drug issue there. So if he owes those kinds of people,
I don't know. Money, I can't tell you what it is. It might be that. It might be he borrowed money from the wrong people. It might be an RV that he rented from some guys that own an RV company that on weekends ride their motorcycles around, if you will. That he took the RV and
that makes
buried it into the base of a mountain at some point. Oh yeah, dude, there are legitimate, like this guy went, he kited, kite. And I said something when we met him. Remember we had him on the show a few times? He's just a fucking train wreck.
Which was interesting because can I just give you a
quick, let me tell you. Yeah, you can. But I said something on the show a few times. And what I said was that kind of activity, that kind of attitude, that kind of bullshit is not sustainable. At some point, he's going to take off and he's going to tell everybody, and I remember saying this, that the government's after him and he has to leave the country because he owes people money and people want to whoop his ass. That is exactly what has happened. Yeah. That is exactly what's going to happen with every single person that acts like this.
They run out of
papers, pizza guy. You just get tired of the shit. And watching it happen with Donald Trump in the United States, if you were part of that movement, I don't care what your ideology is, if you grifted, if you turned all that stuff into your personal little piggy bank, if you fucking lied for the WWE heel turn lift so you could be somebody for a second, that's not authentic. You will be found out. And then the Hells Angels chapter out of Vaughan is going to come and find you. Unless you go to another country, but they exist in other countries too. Anyway, there you go.
Well, for me, what I thought was interesting was the conversation we would have on, and just to give everybody a sense of, we're on a program called Restream. So we would bring people on and then we would have a conversation before we went live or hit record. Right. And, like everyone's kind of doing their thing. And at that time, I think we had, there was like 3 or 4 of us, sometimes even more on, we had more panel discussions back in the day than just sort of you and I and a guest. Right.
Yeah.
And so we would have these very like coherent, like calm conversations with Chris. Right. Like he would be, and he,
not really.
Before we recorded.
Oh, yeah. And then as soon as we hit go, he was like fucking JoJo the Idiot Circus Boy. Yeah.
Like it was like a switch that went off, and then all of a sudden he's performing, but behind the scenes. So I always had this idea when we had him on that, okay, well maybe this might actually be a reasonable discussion, right? And
the amazing part was he would call you. Like, he would call me at night, and we would have these tremendous discussions. And I would disagree with literally everything he said. But, like, he was largely coherent.
Yeah.
Talked about dogs, talked about his family, talked about
too.
breeds, talked about cars. It was like, and then as soon as you put a microphone on him or get in front of a crowd, he just became this thing.
Weird.
This little weirdo that told everybody what was going to happen to him, and none of the things he said happened that were going to happen to him happened to anybody. It just was so stupid. I mean, the whole thing that he did was stupid. His whole act is stupid. Now he's doing what everybody else does at the end of like that runway where they're like, they're coming for me. No one's coming for you. Donald Trump's doing it right now. He's like, this is the deep state. This is Biden, the Biden crime family. 91 times. No, you just did the stuff. You just did all that stuff. We live in that time, and I love that time that we live in too. That time where everybody's like, no, they made me do it. They made me do it crowd. No one made you do that shit, dude. You just acted out of pocket, and then now the police want you, and maybe some bad guys on motorcycles are going to come whoop your ass. And Donald Trump's going to take it in the hoop too. Every single we're seeing it. It's going to happen. I'm not even worried about it anymore. I think the culture stuff's hilarious at this point.
Some people are better at keeping it at bay, right? Like, again, I know we don't want to dig into a Donald Trump conversation here, but that man is remarkable at continuing the grift, right? And will step in front of. Have you been watching any of the trial coverage? This
a little bit. Trial? Why? What's going on?
Well, because he comes in to the courthouse every day, and he does a little speech, and like it's just unbelievable what he said. Like, it's even I know, and I don't even follow it that closely, that he's lying his ass off. It's unbelievable. It really is remarkable. And again, I know we've talked about this multiple times. We're going to be studying this guy. It is truly fascinating. And there were some guys that on a very much smaller level also bought in. And I still find it hard to believe that Chris Sky somehow managed to
make hundreds of thousands of dollars over the 3 or 4 years. Oh, dude, he had party buses, RVs.
Bizarre
limos,
to me that people would give that man money.
Well, it's like, and that's kind of the thing. Like, we watch ourselves kind of come out of this time.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about COVID for quite some time, or the culture bullshit around it. We watch ourselves come out of this time. And we are. I mean, everybody's kind of coming to, grips with the idea that, okay, the reality's different. You've got two sides, right? It's woke and unwoke. Yeah. That's the whole fight. And behind those stupid fucking woke, unwoke tropes, you've got a whole bunch of different interests. But the one interest everybody has in each one of those groups that acted like a dickhead was, how do we take advantage of the situation, right? How do we take advantage of the people?
There is a personality type that does gravitate towards that. Like, how can I make a living out of this, right? If somebody believes in this, right?
Yeah. How can I figure a way out to get into their wallet? How can I get into their Bitcoin account? How can I get them to buy a shirt? And that's an emotional response. And the world was full of emotional responses for like 4 years, right? Like, we were yelling at each other, fuck you. People walking into clinics, cancer clinics were being like prevented from chemo. You had fucking unvaccinated, vaccinated. And I heard some horror stories. Like, I had horror stories recently that everybody had, where they couldn't go to their grandmother's house, would tell their parents they couldn't come over and see the newborn unless they wore a mask, and it had to be N95, like all that shit. It was a terrible
It was time. Weird. The whole thing was weird.
The whole thing was weird. But having said that, as we're negotiating this, people like Chris Sky and other people like Donald Trump and the Trudeau government did the exact same thing, calling an election during fucking COVID to try to paint everybody else as psychotic. Then you had the assholes on the other side pretending that none of this was real and it was all government conspiracy, like all that shit. Take all the psychoticness away from it, right?
Yeah.
Take all the psychoticness away from it. We're left with watching people walk away from all the stupid extremes. And those people all had the same intention, which was, how do we motivate and radicalize large groups of people? You feed them lies. You tell them, hey, look out. Government's coming for you. They're going to take all your shit. And then you tell them the only way to do this is to be a warrior. So you tag them in as like LARPers. And so there are a lot of people out there that were really confused during the COVID years of which team to be on. And you couldn't get away from it, right? And you couldn't get away from like, give us some money and we'll fight for you. Give us some money and we'll go to the Supreme Court. That's what Rebel News' entire business plan is based on that. That is exactly what these guys did. We're standing up for you. The only thing between them and you is me. And if you were those people during the pandemic, I don't hope you just move out of the country. I don't. I hope you go away forever, like the bad way, because those were the worst people in the world. And you're seeing them get it. You're seeing a lot of people get it now. And you're seeing people from the left, vaccinated and unvaccinated, going, we don't give a fuck anymore, right? We don't really care anymore. And then you're seeing really the remnants stay angry on one side.
Yeah.
The remnants stay angry on the other side about the remnants on that side. Chris Guy is the prototypical example of why you should not give a fuck about any of these people ever, because they are just thieves. That's it.
There's still an element of the culture war that's hanging on in that the woke versus the unwoke thing, right? Like I know the terminology does bother some because there's a better definition of the word, but there's still an element of that culture war happening where the left is using things to point out how dumb the right is or how dumb the people that don't agree with it is, and then there's the people that are still mad that people change their pronouns on their Twitter pile, like right, and they'll do like a 3-minute video on TikTok about it, or I remember when this all started happening, we started to dig into things on like I don't know why, but it just became a fairly normal discussion on the locker room, and I caught myself a couple of times because I'd be like, how do people get dragged into these? How do they buy into this?
How do you what human being with a functional brain, how do you get sucked into being in the Chris Guy army?
And I got an even simpler example. We had somebody at work that got sucked into during COVID into an MLM. They were ordering pizza and online, and they clicked something online and ordered these vitamins. And then this vitamin company started like sucking money after about a month or two, started sucking money out of their bank account. Right. And they never did get the vitamins. So then there's this whole thing about this whole process. And it was somebody at work, and I won't mention their name. And I remember saying out loud in the room, who's dumb enough to do this? Like, who are these people that are falling for this? And Jimmy goes, hey, what was the name of that vitamin company? So I had one sitting across from me.
Well, and there are people who are not dumb, who are just emotional. Like you got, listen, there's IQ issues. Yeah. I was talking to someone about it the other day. There's a difference between like, being smart and having an intellectual quotient, like having the mental horsepower to put it all together, right? You got really smart people who are good at math and don't know how to brush their teeth, right?
Yes.
You've got people who know how to brush their teeth, couldn't give a fuck about math. Smart. Yeah, totally. I may or may not have been married to someone who was really great at math, but like effectively completely clueless when it came to communicating with anybody. Like it was bizarre. Like you were like, how can you be that smart and this challenged in certain aspects? And so there's a difference. There's a difference between intellectual horsepower and there's a difference between mental and emotional horsepower. There's 3 different things that feed into. I don't know if have you taken an IQ test? Have you ever taken one?
I don't want.
You should. You should. That's why people don't take them. I've taken several. I'm a genius. Shocker. And what it says is people who are smart have big IQs. It's not because of what they know or what they can retain. It's how they can put together all of it, from the intellectual to the academic to the emotional to the metaphysical. If your understanding of yourself, how to get what you want, how to put it together to have a good life, that is IQ, right? So depending on the way you grew up, the pandemic really fucked with you because most of that IQ isn't what you're born with. It's what you've been taught, how to look at life, how to perceive life, how to do good things in your life for you, how to respond well to it. So we do have a lot of dumb people. And let me bring this up. Those people might be smart at things, but they can't put all of them together, which means they're stupid. And when I said for previous 3 years, you know who's causing all the problems? It's the stupid people. You would go, wait a second. It's legitimately science. It's the stupid people. On the left, like you got, no, hang on. On the left, let me bring up an example. There's this woman named Dina Sharif. Dina Sharif is like, she's like the left's version of Chris Sky.
Okay.
And possibly one of the very difficult to look at this woman. It's like what? It's like looking at a house full of hoarders every time I see her face. I'm like, oh, fuck. Anyway, it's the same feeling I get. She's fighting for inclusivity by showing up to trans rallies with like mechanical whistles to blow in anybody's ear who she doesn't like. She's assaulted people. She pulls up to rallies and tells everybody to go fuck themselves.
I've seen her on the Karima
people
videos.
With flags, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? She's dumb. Reason why she's dumb, she might have a incredible horsepower when it comes to like balancing someone's books.
Yeah.
But what smart person, okay, does that for a better world? Nobody. Dumb people. That's the answer.
Well,
same thing on the right.
She might be autistic too, you know, like there might be like on the spectrum, right?
Introducing some autism. I can't diagnose her. All I can say is she's part of our big problem here in Canada and North America. The dummies have been told they're allowed to fucking speak.
Well,
and they do.
It's not so much told.
Amen.
It's not so much told. They found a community.
Yeah.
Like it's
and they
easy
don't
to
feel so
find
stupid
like
saying stuff, which is incredible to me because like that's one of my major drivers for not saying stuff. Hey, might this sound stupid? Might I get mocked for this? I'm just not going to say it. I manage my life through this one monicum. When it comes to things I want to say, I will speak when I know what I have to say is not better left unsaid, or if I know what I'm talking about. You got a generation of dummies that are going, I don't know anything, but this feels great. I'm going to say it. And they say it, and they're like, the government's tyrannical. And you're like, oh, my God. The fact you were allowed to camp in Ottawa for like fucking three weeks is a pretty good indicator you're not. Remember during the convoy, they're like, we're going to deputize ourselves as Jesus's police force.
I have conversations.
Anyway, we're coming out of it, which is nice. They're starting to be a little quiet.
I got two things. One's about you and one's about me. I have had numerous conversations with people about you and how smart you are. And quite often there's a bit of a disconnect for me because sometimes I hear about stuff that you do where I go, wow, Dean is so much smarter than me, but I would never do that. He's a moron.
Well, Dean
so hold on.
Can be stupid. Yes.
Dean, and I love you. We don't need to get into any examples.
Thank you, sir.
But you do occasionally surprise me when something comes out of your mouth about something that bit you in the ass, and I'll go, okay. But the other thing is, you even articulate what it is that happened and why it bit you in the ass, and then you go, I got to stop doing that. So we all have an element of that. Yeah. Dean's a genius, apparently. I'm too scared to take the IQ test, right? And then my wife said something to me the other day. We were having a conversation because I have this disease where quite often I'm right. I will say things out loud, and I'll look around the room, and everyone's just like, that's just not right.
Yeah.
And I said to my wife, I said, when I end up being right, I have this overwhelming desire to run around and tell everybody that was in that room that I did. It looked at me like I was an idiot and look, I was right.
Yeah.
And she says to me, she goes, you don't do that, which is a good thing. She said, but I have an idea as to why people don't listen to you, because you have this willingness to admit when you're wrong. You have an overwhelming ability to do this.
Yeah, you do.
So So when
that's a sign of intelligence or super intelligence in some cases. So that would put your IQ level between 115 and 120, I would say, which
let's
is
not test
very
that.
smart.
Let's not test that.
So between 110 and 119, just so you know, that's superior or above average intelligence. Okay.
Okay. Well, I can
120 to 140.
I can put doubt in your mind if we start talking about how bad of a speller I am.
What? No, super intelligent geniuses can be bad spellers too. They just don't give a shit about it because they know that they don't need to waste any time with it because they're really good at other stuff.
Guess what I'm telling my wife at dinner.
No, you're not. Actually, do it. Let me record it. I want to see it. Between 120 and 140,
Dean says I'm super brilliant,
super intelligence, or is gifted. Between 120 and 140, scores over 140 indicates genius or nearly genius. Scores under 100 and under, usually between 80 and 89, indicates dullness or lower than average. If you're lower than that, you need to go to the hospital. That's what it says here. No, it doesn't say that. But
it doesn't say that. Okay.
Yeah. So go get your IQ tested. I'd put you at about 115, 120 in there. I would. It's good. You're smart. You're a smart guy. You can put it together. You own multiple homes. You have a radio show. You can function. You got a driver's license. You can problem solve. And I'll tell you what, that's the thing. And a lot of people don't realize
I'm actually a decent problem solver.
Your IQ level directly dictates your problem solving ability. So a guy like Chris Sky couldn't solve his money problem. So he lied and stole and is now on the lam. And you know why? Because he's dumb. Because he's not a problem solver. He's a problem creator, right? Yeah. Dumb people create problems and complain about problems. Smart people with above average intelligence like you, hang on, they get busy solving their own problem and not blaming other people. That piece denotes intelligence like nothing else, kids.
Take this out of the equation. Take the dumbness. Take the IQ test. Like, who cares how smart Chris Sky is or how dumb he is? It doesn't matter.
I'm putting him at like 87.
We also have a culture of the victimhood thing, right? And
but isn't that a direct indication of how smart you are if you can't figure out that everybody else's stuff is not your problem?
No, I don't know if it's an indicator of intelligence. I think there is an element of people's desire to get, like, if they've got a hole. We were talking about a mutual acquaintance. I won't call him a friend, but when we see posts from him quite often, because I am entertained by this individual, I will share them with you, and you and I will have a little chuckle, which is awful, but
we don't do it publicly. We mock and absolutely assail this man behind his back, just so you know.
Which makes me feel so much better about myself.
There's a cone of fucking trust right here. No one has to worry about it. We're not doing anything to anybody.
But we're just
partially marking this individual with the scarlet letter of hilarity. That's what we do. That's what we do.
And we shouldn't find it funny when he is in a video talking about some health issue that you and I are pretty sure he made up to get some attention. Right? And this morning we were talking about him and we're like, what's next? And you were like, I said, is he going to fake cancer? And you went, no, that ship sailed. He already did that. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. I missed that post.
Yeah, that's the other thing dumb people do, and largely victims, when they feel like they need attention instead of like doing the right thing, like working hard, doing something cool, helping somebody. They create, and if everybody has these people in their lives, they create medical issues which don't exist in and around them. Could be a family member, could be you, could be somebody else. But then magically they don't have those things. Like
my brother, whatever, right? Yeah. And we also have a friend who's every member of his family at one point has died. And then miraculously in the last couple of years, they've all been,
they're all a clean bill of health. It's unbelievable. Yeah. They use other people's sicknesses close to them, but that person might not exist. As a way to, they get a phone call from somebody said, hey, dude, you missed your car payment. It's like, well, you know what? How bad do you feel? Because I've been tending to my great aunt's goiter.
Yeah.
Your guy's like, I'm sorry to hear that, but you do owe us a car payment. And he's like, Yeah. You know what? I owe my aunt my life. So, and her goiter's like this big.
It's on her head.
It's on her fucking face.
It's on her head.
Migrated to her brain. It's I don't know if that's real. And then they'll do the car payment and go, could you cut me a deal? How's your aunt? Oh yeah, she's good. She survived. And then it won't be goiter. It'll be like she had bunions for miles. It's like I thought it was goiter. Like they can't keep track of the lines.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like a parent died, but then you're on the phone with them and you're like, "Where are you?" "Oh, I'm in the lake country at my mom's place."
That happened to me recently, as a matter of fact. I'll tell you a story, and it was someone I can't work with anymore. Long story short, doesn't matter. So for years, this person told me his entire family was dead. Like,
we shouldn't be laughing. Ooh, we're horrible people.
And it's not just his family. His entire family was dead. How they died was horrific. And what they did to him prior to that death was even more horrific. Yeah. Okay? I recently caught up with said person who informed me they were having a lovely time with their mom and dad. And I went, "Are you dead too? Like you die? So are you calling me from heaven? That's unbelievable." And he's like, "What?" "Yeah." And I'm that guy, right? That doesn't go, "Oh, that's interesting. I just need to get off the phone with you." I'm that guy that's like, "Okay, now I'm interested.
Let's dig into this."
So I'm like, I thought they were dead. Remember, your mom died here, your dad died there. This person came into your life and they treated you like this, and that was the cause of all your problems and why you needed all that money a few years. Like, you remember that? And he's like, "I don't remember that yet." Wow. And I'm like, "How is it you don't remember that?" He goes, "I was drunk and high." And I'm like,
"You know what?
For 3 straight years, every time I talked to you, you were drunk and high, and you made that up every time. I mean, that is unbelievable."
So many people that are just buried.
And then he does this one. Then he does this one. He goes, "Just a sec. I gotta go. I'll call you back." I'm like, "No, you won't, because I got you." And that was the last time I will speak with that person. That's a fucking true story. His whole family was dead for 3.5 years. Turns out they bailed him out of trouble. Way to pay him back. You had they were dead. Like, can you imagine fucking meeting that guy's family after him telling you that?
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what dumb people do.
I don't know if it's dumb. I think it's, again, that victim state.
Dumb.
I think there might be an element of lack of, I blame it on social media. Like I said, they found a community. They get immediate response to anything going wrong in their lives, right?
Mm-hmm. They do, but then they get validated politically by like
posting.
Different parties, vague posting, vague booking. Yeah, dude. And dude, that's case you want validation. And I'm not saying this because I hate Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party, because I could care less. I hate bad people. You got an entire party that validates people like that. We're victims too. Yeah, they came for our stuff. Let's go.
Well, and I think the reason why you and I are having this conversation right now is because we've had some blasts from the past. And for me, and again, I've talked about this before, and I don't want to get repetitive, but I'm pretty good at sniffing out people. I think I actually have a gift. But I'm conflicted quite often. And you and I have had this conversation multiple times, and you come at it from a very interesting perspective. That's why I like talking to you about it. I have always been very, very independent, and I'm very careful with who I let in, right? And if I'm in a situation where you and I are going to work together, or we're going to be friends, or whatever the case might be, I'm very careful about how much I give individuals. And if I smell any kind of weirdness on you, you're gone, right? I like authentic people. I like people that are real. I like people that have faults. Most of my friends have very serious faults, but I smell shyster on people. I smell grifter on people. And I'm very careful about, and I'm quick to judge, which is a thing that I'm working on. I'm really trying to deal with that judgment piece. My 3-step plan to save the world: 1, figure out who you are. Number 2, get comfortable with that person. Number 3, stop worrying about what everybody else is doing, right? So I'm very, I'm not good at that judgment piece. And when I get into a situation where I am being too judgmental and I'm quick to make a decision about cutting them out of my lives, I feel guilt about it.
Oh, never mind.
I do get drunk quite often. That it does lead to a bit of a rager.
Yeah.
So the problem is if I ignore that temptation I have of axing that person out of my life and making sure that they don't have anything to do with me, and I drag it out for a bit, I'm always right, which is the more difficult thing to deal with. Because now
being so right all the time, it's like my
yes, dream. It's difficult.
Why? Because you run around telling everybody you're right. That's what you do.
No, I don't do that.
You do it all the fucking time.
Okay, I do it.
It's the best. There's nothing more, like someone's like, is there anything be better than being right? And I'm like, yeah, fucking rubbing it in. It's the best.
But I have this need right now, and I think it's why I've gravitated towards yoga. I think it's why you've gravitated towards stoicism. I have this need right now to eliminate that judgment piece, to do a better job on that, and also give back. I don't know if I'm necessarily skilled to help most.
So here's the question. Let me ask you a question, because the one thing that people get upset, and I get it, right? It's, hey, you can't call us all stupid. Yeah, I can, as a matter of fact, because you qualify. Pardon me.
I take issue with
that's a judgment
blanket
piece.
Statement.
Yeah, well, it is to throw your life away over something you can't change means that you're doing something stupid. Maybe you might not be in every capacity, but that's an IQ issue. Yeah, it just is, dude. It is, and that's the thing. It's like the racist conversation or the trans. I think
we can agree that Chris Guy is dumb.
Everybody totally. But let me finish, because I'm on a heater here. I'm going to explain something to you.
Okay.
There's a difference between an observation and dunking on people, right? There is. And I don't feel like sitting here after I've had all kinds of time of mine wasted over the past several years going, those people that do things like that, these are the 7 different principles with which they do not understand the reality of an objective life lived well to be a happy person. Or that specific group of people that they believe these things, and so that's what they did. Fuck it. I'm so tired of it all the time. There's one reason and one reason only. Someone gives that guy money. There's one reason and one reason only. A woman drives 6 hours to beat someone with a rainbow flag at an inclusive event. They're dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad we got there. We don't have to belabor it. Like we don't have to names.
No.
That's dunking.
Here's where I take issue with it.
I'm just being right.
Yeah, and you're good at it because you're a genius.
Yeah. Super
the one issue here's where I take umbrage with it a bit. Okay. I have a belief structure, and I have had this belief structure for a long time, and it's mine. It doesn't have to be yours. So when you see me struggling with the conversation like we've had today, this is the reason why. I truly believe this, and it's going to sound a little hokey, but I believe that if you put a certain amount of positive energy out into the world, you get it back. If you put a certain amount of negative energy out into the world, you get it back. So I try not to do that, right?
So you don't have to use my words. You could use words like differently abled, handy capable. I mean, there's a variety of phrases you could use other than dumb, right?
So I worked with a guy years ago in Winnipeg, and every 3, 4, 5 years, he reaches out to me and he goes on a tirade, right? And I always have this what I think is very comical approach to responding to this individual.
Oh, this is an example that you're giving an example. I like this. Bear with me. You're using this as an example. Is the difference between, because I know the story you're going to tell and I like it. So let's give it some context. An example between dunking on someone and making an observation that sounds like dunking on someone. Okay, go ahead. I like this. Go ahead. So guy on radio reaches out every 3, 4 years with vitriolic messages for some reason. Continue.
It's always like a late night post.
Yeah.
And it's always like I've stole his career or I've ruined rock radio single-handedly. Me and one other guy that we worked with him. And he's that victim. He's always a victim. And I brought it up to you last week when he reached out to me, and I said, you know what, I'd like to deal with this on the air, but I want to be careful with how we approach this when we talk about it, because I actually think the guy's sick. And whenever this happens, I always have that pang of guilt if I bring it up or bring his name up, that I'm not helping the situation. I might be making it worse. And I think he actually might need a friend right now, and he might need a wellness check. Right. And so I don't have any guilt on how I respond to him, because he's a raging cock to me when he does reach out. Right.
It's one of those, it's like, when you sit down, everybody does it, right? You've done this, where it's like, 11:30 at night, between 11:30 and 2:30 in the morning, you've had way too much to drink. The resentment wheel starts to spin. No, I'm not saying this is you, but we've all done this. The resentment wheel starts to spin. Most of us don't even remember sending these texts, by the way. I've done this to family members, so it's not good. And then you send a text and you feel all justified and cool because you're feeling like a drunk hero at night or a high hero at night. And then you go to bed, you wake up, and you grab your phone. You ever do this where you grab your phone and you get this reply from somebody going, I can't believe you said that to me, you piece of shit. Fuck that. And you look at the thing and you're like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I say?
I don't do that.
But that's what I think this is. That's what I think this is. Anyway, continue.
He does it. He does it to me.
This gentleman, let's just call him Dick, sends you, because it's his name, sends you these DMs every few years at 2 o'clock in the morning, to your point.
3:35 a.m.
There you go.
I got this. Talented has-been. HASBEEN. You look so pathetic with your terrible. He thinks I've somehow stolen his persona.
Poor Dick. And by the way, if you're going to steal someone's persona, I know who you're talking about. That's not the one you steal.
No. He hasn't been in radio for over 20 years, and there's a reason why.
Are you stealing his persona as a clerk at 7-Eleven? Is that what you're doing?
So I respond, sounds like you're doing well. Stay positive. Just so you know, no one is copying you. You haven't been on the radio for over 20 years. The last thing I heard was a tape of you so drunk you didn't know your name. Keep a smile on that pretty face. I usually add that in there. I don't know.
You know what
now, what is that? What is let's dissect my inability to ignore that and respond the way I did. Is that passive aggressive?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, for sure. It's passive aggressive, and it's a waste of your time. And if you don't give a shit about this guy, why would you even let it take up any brain space? That's how I would approach it. However, that's Dean 2.0. Like, of course, 30 because what did he say?
Well, it's you effing poser. Karma's a bit. He's coming after me. Apparently,
is he coming after you?
Yeah.
How old is this guy? In his 70s?
No. He's around my age. He was actually really talented. If I'm being honest, he's a very troubled soul. I think he's got some major addiction issues and lost his job because of that.
See, that'll change the response when he's got addiction issues, and I'll tell you why.
Well, and that's why I feel bad.
No, fucking give it back to him. Fucking passive aggressive it up. But you might not want to overdo it like you just did, where you keep a smile on that pretty face. Yeah, it's a little demeaning. Yeah, if you're going to take the high road, take the high road. Don't take the middle road. And if you're going to take the low road, cut his fucking legs off. Okay? Just a little 101 back and forth. If someone does
so after about 30 messages, I'll give you another example, and you can tell me what road I'm on.
Okay.
So you effing loser, blah, blah, blah. You killed rock radio. Like
yourself.
Yeah, I'm going to get a t-shirt. I killed rock radio. Good to see that you're moving on. Always great to hear from you. Have a great night. Because he got into the next night and then went after me again.
3 a.m. again?
Yeah. And then, and then I'm feeling guilty, right? Because I'm still on the middle road. I did say, hey, listen, if you got any friends left, is anyone you can reach out to? It sounds like you need a little bit of help. Right?
Oh, see, that's nice. You kind of played with him a little bit
after another 30 messages, right? And then I sent him the helpline for Manitoba.
211. Attaboy. As you should.
Passive aggressive.
Yeah, dude, I do that too, where I'll get a tweet from somebody like that, or a DM, or I'll get a text, and if I don't
hear from old coworkers,
sometimes, yeah, and I'll just respond sometimes with 4 of my favorite letters put together in one word: meds. Because I don't care. I'm not giving it my time. I'm harsh about that, though. I think more people should be. Control what you can control, and if someone else wants to deliver some shitty rain on a sunny day to you,
I'm trying to be better. I'm legit trying to be better. I am.
You should. We all should. We all
should.
But sometimes it's fun.
think you have to protect yourself, Dean.
Yeah.
And I think I'm very good at that. Now I need to figure out how to help people. I think I need to exercise that muscle, because I think I might have that in me. Right. Yeah. I'm always amazed whenever we talk about yoga and this yoga journey that I'm on. I'm always amazed at how many people reach out to me for advice on that. So I think I might be able to give back in that regard. I'm never proud of myself when I respond like that. I do. In the moment, I'm kind of chuckling a little bit.
Yeah, of course, it's fun, dude. You're in conflict, right? It's exciting. It's adrenaline. You're like, ooh.
The other
Dick
thing
Shivers.
is, I wonder.
Dick Shivers is in
my
DMs.
I wonder what happens when, for me, like I'm always curious about, like, I don't care what that guy thinks of me. I just don't. Whereas I've met some people, and I know you've got this bone as well in your body. Like, I don't care that man doesn't like me. I have
it's really
zero care in my life. Whereas I know people that they'd spin on that for a month.
Days. Figuring out a way to get to them, teach them a lesson. No, it's not where it's at. To your point, that's like nirvana. That's where everybody wants to be, in what I believe is called eudaimonia. It's like the most peaceful place to be, where anything anybody does around you or to you doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It legitimately doesn't matter. Like, if someone gets in my DMs and dude, have you seen my Twitter feed?
Yeah.
You hack, you pedo, you groomer.
Yeah.
You child rapist, you this, you that, you homophobe, all of it. I mean, all of it. Commie, you Nazi loving pigwort. I got called a pigwort the other day. I'm like, is that worse than a regular wart? Like the pigworts?
Fascist.
Yeah, fascist.
I see that one all the time.
Yeah, dude. You manage that? Block. It's not even worth a reply. And the ones that I do,
you don't want to block this guy, because I won't get to respond to him.
Yeah, well, then keep doing it. Time for the Locker Room Retro Replay of the Day, brought to you by our friends at Ardent Roof Systems, ardentroofsystems.com. If you're in the Edmonton area, these are the #1 partner for Owens Corning for guaranteed work. They're a platinum partner, and Stacy's the king. He'll show up with a professional crew. He'll do the best job, guaranteed. He's got all kinds of price points, but you want someone you could trust. He's our roofing guy. Your roofing guy. Ardent Roof Systems Locker Room Replay of the Day. What do we have today? I
can't confirm any of this, but I have heard that Stacy is maybe expanding as well. So there you go. Also, early bird pricing still in effect till the end of April for the charity golf tournament for the Stollery Life program, which Ardent and Stacy have raised over $65,000 for in just 4 tournaments. The 5th one, July 5th. Ranch Golf Country Club here in Edmonton. Sign up a team, a single, by going to the webpage, ardentroofsystems.com. This is me. Well, every once in a while, sometimes my tongue gets ahead of me. That's all I'll say.
The Lock Retro Replay.
There's the Stroke, which is his biggest hit.
See, for me, that's pretty much the only Billy Squire I know is the Stroke.
Well, you would know Everybody Wants You. You don't know that one?
Or I probably would if I heard
or
it.
Rock Me Tonight?
Rock Me Tonight, I know.
Okay, yeah. Those were big tits. Yeah.
Too soon.
I didn't mean to say that.
Did somebody walk by the studio that distracted you?
Oops.
It's one of those things that happens on the radio that you never want to happen on the radio, that for like the next 30 seconds after you do that on the radio, which is a total accident, you think you might get fired. One of those breaks,
Flop
right?
sweats.
Oh, yeah. Full on. Boom. Everyone knows it that was in radio. Where you mean to say like country music, but you missed the last part of country? That's happened to me. Oopsie doopsie. Oopsie doopsie. Thanks, buddy. Don't forget, Arden Roof Systems Golf Tournament in support of Stollery Child Life Program. I will be there July 5th. You need to come and golf with us. We're going to raise a bunch of money for the kids that truly need some help, and that's exactly what Stacy does with that money. So make sure that you come and join us. Go to ardenroofsystems.com, and you can donate there. You can buy a foursome there. You can donate not only to have available sponsorship, you can sponsor a hole. You can do, and Owens Corning is a major partner here as well. We're going to show up with cameras. We're going to have a great time. So don't forget, ardenroofsystems.com. today. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
I will fill you in on I'm going to have a grease fire meeting.
Okay. Your show. I'm excited.
Yeah. The cooking show that I'm a part of.
Really
which
excited.
Is just funny in itself because I can only make sandwiches and eggs.
Yeah, I know. You fucking kill the shit out of an egg sandwich too when you put them together.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What I do is I cook the egg a little longer so the yolk isn't as runny.
There you go. Thank you.
There's
All
a
right.
tip.
Thank you. Lochlin Cross. At Lochlin Cross on Twitter is where you can find him. Locker Room webpage as well. You can go to the Locker Room YouTube page. Subscribe. You can see all their favorite bits. Great radio show. Historically great radio show in Edmonton, Alberta. That's it for us, everybody. I want to thank our partners for making this possible. As always, I want to thank our friends over at CanTorque. CanTorque, they make rugged, hardworking torque wrenches. And they are every single solution under one roof. For anybody that needs a torque wrench or bolting solution you can't find one for in heavy industry, man, this happens all the time. They turn these nuts and bolts so hard you can't find a solution for it 30 years later. And the way that engineering works, you need a torque solution that actually is managed by PSI, something that's actually on fire that can produce a torque like any wrench has ever been made before. That's what they do for heavy industry and around the world. Number one in it as well when it comes to making torque wrenches, designing any flange maintenance systems and impact sockets, every solution under one roof, distributorship under one roof as well. If you're looking for a gig, you want to distribute their tools, they're right out of Canada and super proud to be manufactured in Canada as well. They've got a maple leaf on every single one of their products. You can check out those products over at cantorque.com. Go to cantorque.com today. And check out their podcasts, see their services. If you're in heavy industry and you need a bolting solution and you've been talking about it, but everybody's like, we don't know where to go, CanTorque. That's where the world goes. They come to Edmonton where they also manufacture, proud to do it because they are Canadian. CanTorque.com for more information. My friends at Muse Massage Spa. I got a very disconcerting phone call today from my friend Emily at Muse. She had her Twitter feed taken down. This is the second time. And all she does is post pictures and videos of their services at Muse Massage Spa, 1290 Finch Avenue West. And they're lovely people. Her and Riley, they got a Patreon podcast. You can get it on YouTube as well. Muse on the Mic, educators, sexologists, advocates, owners of a spa, gainful employers of dozens of women, hardworking individuals. Can't even advertise their services. However, Nazis can proliferate Twitter, no problem. So ridiculous. So everything Muse related. I need everybody to bomb MuseMassageSpa.com. I want you to go there today. I want you to check out their schedule. These girls have worked so hard for almost 20 years building the #1 massage body parlor in the entire country. Built it from nothing. And they're entrepreneurs. And they give back. And they're one of the best employers in the city. So while Elon Musk wants to tell them they can't post pictures of tatas and services at the biggest and best massage spa and parlor in Canada, I'm telling you, you can go there. Go to their website. Check out their services. Brand new website, MuseMassageSpa.com. Better yet, go there. Make an appointment. Tell them Dean Blundell sent you. Tell them that. They'll give you a deal. That's the kind of people they are. So let's help them in their time of need. There's no older, more fashionable, more noble profession than this profession. The oldest profession in the world. MuseMassageSpa.com, educators, advocators, and right now they need your help. Go there today. Tell them Dean Blundell sent you. They'll take very, very good care of you. We're also brought to you by our friends at factcheck.io. Factcheck.io, world-beating software that has the ability to kill disinformation at its tracks, has the ability to help publishers write without writing, has the ability to keep you safe from disinformation. It's like having a little agent, a little buddy in your hand when you surf the web, when you go through your social media feeds. It says, that's a lie, that's the truth. That's the lie. That's the truth. This person said this. That's a lie. Don't trust that account. Would you like that in your life? You sure would. Then help us beta test. Fact Check is looking for beta testers for their world-beating disinformation killing software, where you can help verify how it works, why it works, and help work out all the kinks. Their new beta test is incredible. Pictures, videos. There's even a Shazam feature. I don't even want to tell you what it's called because I was told I'm not allowed to. However, I can tell you this. There are people who are very interested in helping you navigate your information superhighway and want to put agency back in your hands when it comes to believing things that you need to have verified. That is exactly what Fact Check does. So join their beta team today. Go to factcheck.io. Again, factcheck.io. Sign up to join their team. Support them there. More information coming in the next 2 to 3 weeks about how we're going to open up that beta test program. Space is limited. Again, factchek.io, factcheck.io, spelled cool. factchek.io. Check them out today. Have a great day, everybody. Appreciate you being here. We'll see you tomorrow morning on this very program. Thanks to Lochlin for being here. Thanks to our partners and friends. And again, I say this all the time. Thank you. We really appreciate the fact that you spent some time with us. You can always get more stuff. You can never get more time. So the fact you give it to us for an hour and 11 minutes, 50 seconds means a lot. Have a great day. Don't forget, rate, subscribe anywhere you can find us. Crier Media on YouTube, Dean Blundell Show on YouTube. And, of course, anywhere you get your fine podcasts. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye.